Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful life. No need to run and hide. It's a wonderful, no need to laugh and cry. It's a wonderful, wonderful life. Here I go, out to sea again. The sunshine fills my hair. Dreams hang in the air. Holding the sky and in my blue eyes. You know it feels unfair. There's magic everywhere. No need to hide.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? Are we all winning? Have we all recovered from the other day? From the emergency Bitcoin drop? Doing alright, bought a ton of BERT. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, I mean, it's on like big, high time frame support, so hopefully that'll be nice. Yeah, all good. Still breathing, there's hope. A recovery is possible. It's the Wall Street cheat sheet for anyone not paying attention. Yeah, I mean, today's been a fucking... Useless got you back? Yeah, fair play. I fucking pussied out on Useless, man. I literally longed it here. I longed it here, right? This is my day. I longed it here, basically caught like this rotation absolutely perfectly. Sold in here. Like as soon as it started to lose momentum, basically. Longed it here. I went, fuck this, I can't be asked. And then it just literally ripped. Absolute fucking face melter. Like, proper pain. Yeah. Useless is a full-on, like, just scam mode coin. It's fucking great. You know, I see all this chat on the timeline, like, oh, it's a bundled Ponzi. It's like, yeah, fucking great. If it goes up, mate, just fucking buy some. Do you know what I mean? If it's a bundled Ponzi, just fucking buy it. And they'll send it for you. Like, don't overcomplicate it. I think it's a good meme. I think it's, you know, I've been tweeting about it for a long time. So, yeah, quite high on my radar. Mildly annoyed that I pissed this, but que sera. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let's firstly shout out to Telemetry by Bongbot, who obviously support the stream. We are seeing a little bit of life come back into the trenches, but not enough to get excited, right? It's been a bit of a downtrend for a while, and I really like this visualization because, yeah, it just tells you that this isn't necessarily where you should be like really focusing on right at this moment in time because the risk isn't there. But in terms of familiarizing yourself with tooling and all that kind of stuff, it makes sense to do so, right? They've got their multi-wallets now, which is great. Like, I got fuck all in this wallet and I was just pissing around with it. I actually converted Sol to USDC, whatever the hell it is. So you can't see all of it on here, but they've actually got multi-wallet now, which is great. So me and Doc can do the Battle of the Boomers. And yeah, it's like really easy to transfer money from wallet to you know, A to B, different percentages of like whatever token you want. Obviously, I've got fuck all in there at the moment. My literal on-chain portfolio is pretty empty, but if you have got some on-chain bangers, let me know. I should really have bought my Useless through here, but it is, I mean, the Useless chart, I'm just going to go to it because it looks pretty fucking amazing, right? Like, and we were talking about it at the start of the stream, like, it's bundled Ponzi, whatever. Which it's, you know, you look at this, it's quite a bit connected, right? Let's kind of ignore that. But you look at this now, it's just like it's breached like former highs. It looks like it just wants to fucking trend accelerate towards like a Billy, right? Like, it has got a ridiculous run up since the sell-off the other day. And yeah, if I haven't seen you guys since, because I did do like a quote unquote emergency stream on Saturday. If I haven't seen you since then, like I do hope you're all alright. Like I probably need to cover that off, right? Like it was a fucking brutal sell off. Like I do genuinely hope people survived. Like I was memeing on the timeline because I was pretty bearish, like heading into it, and I sold everything off pretty much, went cash, and just chilled. I even tweeted like me watching the market get fucked while sat in cash. And then, you know, like there's banter, right? There's a little bit of banter between being bullish and bearish, and the market ultimately decides. And then there's just like unsolicited rape, which is what happened to basically everybody on perps, which is still, to this day, I'm still a bit like shell shocked, even though we're like a few days down the line, right? It is unreal. How's everyone in the chat feel about this? Just like in terms of like, where do you all think we're going? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you what's the kind of feeling in the chat? You survived. Well played. You did better than I reckon 70% of people. I'm not gonna lie. Bullish. Bitcoin crab. Okay. Okay. Leaning bullish. Bullish. Okay. Any bears in the chat? Good morning, Jonathan. Do we have any bears, or did they all die? Which I'm not sure. Maybe we should switch to stocks. Yeah, Andy Reid knows. Stocks have actually been so much easier. I look at some of those charts and they're just like this. It's like, it's like you know, shouting like a crypto, like Obi-Wan, like you are the chosen one. You are meant to do this, not fucking cascade. That's literally like my attitude at the moment. Like, you are the one that was meant to scam pump, not gold. Like, you know, I might do that meme. You're bearish at the best of times? Yeah, fair, mate. I feel pretty bearish at the moment, to be honest. You closed everything and was mostly in cash as well. Ah, nice, Charles. Well done. Should have gone all in on silver. Yeah, I mean, people like, you know, people are like loving the silver trade. But, you know, it took years to play out, right? Most people fucking cheat their $100 position on Sol within like 3 weeks. So, you know, holding this throughout the trials and tribulations, it's, you know, everyone's like, oh yeah, such an easy trade. It's like, was it? Was it really? Like, you know, it's a nice consolidation that broke the upside, lovely. But, you know, 55%, if you're holding for like, you know, best part of 2 years, you got 100%. Incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. But still, I think people kind of overestimate their ability to hold, generally. Unless this is just like a very small percent of your net worth, and you're just like, I'll buy, you know, 0.1% here, 0.1%, 0.1%, whatever of your net worth, etc., and just DCA in. But it's scary, actually, in terms of like what TradFi looks like. And I'm going to start here a little bit because, you know, that's kind of where you've led me as a chat. And like these kind of parabolic moves, you know, they only end one way, right? It doesn't just kind of keep going up forever. And I'm not calling for a top on silver, but I'm kind of calling for a top on silver, right? It's pretty fucking close. Like, yeah. There's not really like, there's a bit of a div across the daily, right? But I wouldn't try and fade this. Don't get me wrong. I only ever fade these when it looks like that. Yeah. And we break the parabolas, and actually, you know, it works out like that. And you've got the lower high, and that's the kind of confirmation of trend break, etc. But it's pretty parabolic now. Yeah, they only tend to end one way, and I'm not calling for a top specifically, but if we get something like that, you know, that if you are in spot silver, I would almost always take this hedge, almost always. Should have got, yeah. Turns out robots and AI are more interesting than distributed ledgers. Yeah, you mean a spreadsheet on the blockchain? Not particularly exciting. Yeah, I mean, instead of being born, like way back here somewhere, depressingly. Yeah, in like this region. Yeah, don't want to dox my age too much, but you know, I was basically back here somewhere. And instead of being born, my parents could have just fucking all in silver, do you know what I mean? Selfish bastards. Anyway, let's go on to real talk. So I tweeted something about Bitcoin earlier. And this is kind of my really simplified version Yeah. Which is, I think most dogshit traders are just going to get wiped. They're going to get their fucking asses handed to them in this range. They're going to be bored. They're going to be revenge trading for this short that they didn't catch, or the blow off that they suffered in terms of leverage. I think it's going to be quite choppy. I think it's going to be quite difficult. Like I started off today. I'm not going to lap about it. I had a good trade and then I had a missed trade because I was too much of a pussy. But I also went like spot BTC here. So I bought a couple of Bitcoins, a few Bitcoins down here with a stop under here, because basically my theory is if this isn't the fucking bottom, then we're going to lose 110k. If we lose 110k, which I've been banging on about for months and months and months, is my line in the sand. If we come back down to like retest 100k, I think the whole it's held above 100k notion, Bitcoin's just going up, everyone's getting in, you know, everyone else has got to get in. That kind of narrative just falls and dies, and that would be my like last long attempt of 2025, right? I've got plenty of spot Bitcoin. I've got some from like way down here, so I'm basically bringing my average up, yeah. And this is pretty much where I'm wrong, and like where I'm almost break even. So if I take a loss here on these Bitcoins, it's actually like break even for the ones I bought down here, whatever. Well, not break even, but it's break even on an average basis, yeah? So you make X amount there, lose X amount there, that nets out to be 0. So it'll be a bit shit if that does happen, but fuck it. We bull, and we stay bullish, and if we're wrong, then to be blunt, we've got a lot more to worry about than just short-term price action, right? Like, for me, if we're wrong on this and we lose 110k, that means that this was the cycle top. Like, I don't really see any other scenario. Yeah, if we start coming down here, I think that's literally it. I think that's the trend. That's it broken. That'll be a new structure. There might be a trade again around 110k, which would be a higher time frame short. But I think if that happens, then we're fucked. Yeah. So I'm trying to think in probabilities and think if this, then that. And if this happens, everything's going to go to shit for at least a period of time. I think the probability of that is like 10%, maybe 20, I don't know. But I think we just kind of resume up only on Bitcoin in particular. I think that altcoins in general are a bit weak, and we're probably going to see Bitcoin dominance fill the wick in terms of this, which is what we actually ran through a couple of weeks ago. I just didn't expect, like obviously down here, I didn't expect it to happen so soon, and obviously it wasn't for the reason I thought it was. I thought Bitcoin was going to run, not altcoins fucking shit the bed. But yeah, we are getting a bit of a run on altcoins as well, which, you know, isn't what I expected, but I adapted to and tried to play today. Sweep the wicks and clean the state. Yeah, I mean, on some altcoins, that's going to be impossible, right? On like Atom and stuff like that, you're not going to sweep that wick on Atom. And if you do, that's because it has actually gone to physical 0, like 0, 0. And that's the only way you're sweeping that wick, right? So it went to 0.0001 or something. But yeah, I mean, for me, as long as we're holding 110k, I think the market in general is bullish. I still think you're probably going to need to be a reasonably skilled trader to actually play some of these rotations well. I think spaghetti is the key and continues to be the key, right? You've got some coins that are like massively outperforming Bitcoin. But if you look at like this, if you look at this run up and then run down, there's only a couple that like since the peaks yesterday, or sorry, since the lows yesterday, you know, like massively outperform Bitcoin. So asset selection still very, very key. And then if you start looking at like today's rotations, again, some nice moves on like majors, etc., like Solana, you see Doge in there and stuff like that. But the real like exceptions have been like useless, which I caught a bit of, sadly not all of it, and BERT, but BERT did sell off pretty badly, to be fair. It didn't sell off badly through the big liquidation event. It actually sold off afterwards, which is a bit weird. But you know, high time frame sport has always been kind of 50 cents on this, and until it loses 50 cents and goes back into like former accumulation range, I'm just not worried. I haven't sold any or anything like that, right? It's just hopefully we reclaim structure, hopefully we, you know, high or low here, hopefully it goes. Like, this has been a trade that we had from way back when, back in September. Yeah, I'm just hoping that it continues to show relative strength and that we bought the bottom on BTC and we bought the bottom on but useless, etc. Atom went to its fair price. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. So yeah, there's your BERT offer. I just think that, like, from here, we just want to see structure continue in terms of this BILO. And, you know, we just slowly grind up and then eventually break out of this 0.8 area, which has been really difficult to crack. We literally ranged there before. I kind of expected this to break up, but obviously the market had different ideas. Obviously I wanted to take, like, 4 more highs. And I think once it actually gets above, like, all this, I think that's when it really just fucking trends and runs hard. But, like, the markets are pretty good today. They're pretty hot. Like, rotationally, they've been really, really good to trade. Yeah, really, really good. ETH would be perfect. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. We'll talk about ETH because we talked about the last stream, and I said about, like, relonging under here. And for me, like, it just wasn't sexy enough, right? It's just not particularly appealing because, one, there wasn't too much strength, and two, the structure of it was nice, but I don't just like buying a little consolidation without any form of strength. And, you know, even here, like, ETH BTC is just not looking particularly great. So, you know, we can't clear these highs. Yeah, there's a bit of strength, but it's just not wonderful in terms of sort of structure. We've got, like, a lower low down here into a lower high. Like, it's not wonderful, and it's not particularly strong, right? So I'm not super excited about ETH. I know everyone's like, hey, ETH. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm very good at playing rotational altcoins and momentum on alts. And I even took a couple of shorts on Bitcoin today, which, you know, I don't like sharing my shorts because they, you know, they tend to get people wrecked just in terms of, like, everyone just holds them for too long and they don't play them rotationally. I literally shorted here because if you have this, we invert it in here. And you can ask XO about this because I sent it to him and I was going, like, look, you know, a series of, like I would play this on a long side breakout, and then as soon as you invert the chart, you go, oh yeah, that looks completely sensible, right? And you play the breakout here, lose the trend, get out, simple. Yeah, I managed to catch this as well just from consolidation, but I did hold it for too long because I actually went and got some lunch, which was very late. But you know, you see how inverting charts changes your bias. I didn't flip long on this. Instead, I just went, fuck this. Let's buy some spot BTC. It was actually down here because I think my average was 110.7. And so that's where I bought. But you can see the same principles of, like, following momentum just play true. And then you look at this here, right? And you look at this in terms of, like, structurally. You've got, like, consistent pressure into a breakout. Like, yeah. Really, really nice traders environment. I didn't catch this one either because, again, I was eating. I sound like a right fat cunt today, don't I? But yeah, it's been like, look at this volatility, man. It's beautiful, beautiful. And look at some of this, like, Jesus Christ, like, everything's just flying and running. Some of these coins up, you know, astronomically since earlier. 15, like 10% on Fartcoin and stuff. What a lovely traders environment. Absolutely fucking lovely. But yeah, I'm just not particularly fussed about ETH. Like, I'm sure loads of people are gonna, like, crush this trade and do whatever, but it just doesn't look great to me, right? And similarly, like for Solana, we've reclaimed this. I think the big level for Sol is actually across here, so it's actually at the 2-on-1, which we've talked about before. And I'm just not, until, like, Sol ETH is particularly strong or Sol BTC is particularly strong, it's just meh. It's just a meh trade. I want to trade at the extremes of volatility, right? I basically want Bitcoin, and there's, like, Bitcoin here. There's, like, ETH alts and other alts here, yeah? And there's useless, which is, yeah, you can't read my writing, but you get my point, yeah? All of this shit, just not interested. Like, fuck that. Delete that out of your watch list. Like, play with the big boys and play the proper degenerate stuff. That's my attitude, yeah? Play some big rotations on stuff like Useless. And even now, like, looking at Useless, so if we go to, yeah, oh, fuck is that? What have I done? Boom and Charlie Strikes Again. You know, we look at this as a rotation, absolutely fucking lovely. But we start looking at this as like, you know, an all-time high breakout. I'm pretty convinced I could probably long here. Oh, that's a short. Nice work. You know, I could probably just play this rotation as a literal, like, blind long and get rewarded, as long as Bitcoin doesn't just, like, start selling off, right? Alright, let's be a bit... Yeah. Yeah, I reckon I could size up like this and take something like this just as a continuation long, right? And even if this one doesn't work, I reckon one of these breakouts will, and as soon as it breaches the highs, it'll just run for a good 10% candle. Yeah? And when it does, if you're in it, it's happy days, isn't it? I think these tend to reset quite quickly. So when you get the breakout and you get the fuckery at all-time high, yeah, you get a lot of, how do I put it? A lot of people kind of go in for going not just for the rotation, but going for you know, big swings. And what tends to happen is, you know, get something like this, punish everyone, and fuckery around the highs, yeah? But realistically, I do think that this is bundled to the point where they absolutely send it. And so playing rotations on this coin, it's gonna be pretty plus EV. Yeah? Can you look at others BTC? Others BTC, yeah. Ratio total market cap, excluding top 10 to Bitcoin. So this is essentially everything that isn't like ETH and Sol and Doge and basically anything that, yeah, isn't top 10. Okay. I mean, this looks like turbo dog shit, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think you have to watch Useless, right? Because you get, like, fuckery like this. Like, here you go. Classic. As soon as Charlie says, let's go, it just fucking turbo nukes, but Bitcoin's being a bit of a cunt, but alright. Yeah, this is really interesting. This is just a massive fucking downtrend, right? Like, you could stick a simple EMA on this and just go... It's not been great for a long time, which to me is why, and I preach it all the time, asset selection is literally the key to thriving in this market. Because when you are longing things that just run like that and they're the strongest coins in the market, you kind of get forgiven for bad entries sometimes, right? And the trend just carries you. Whereas this tells you kind of exactly what we need to know, which is, you know, this is just a contracting downtrend. Yeah, okay, like the EMAs go bullish at some points, but like realistically, just looking at it, it's a pretty horrific downtrend structurally, isn't it? In terms of like highs. Like, yeah, we kind of fight for a fresh one there, but we don't even make that. Yeah, it's just like continuous lack of strength. So yeah, it's pretty depressing, to be honest, this chart. I think if you were like really looking for an alt season, like, you know, this is an alt season. This is an alt season. Do you know what I mean? Like this kind of massive move. Like that's what people associate alt season with, right? Massive fucking gains. And like, yes, we've had some really good rotations, but like this isn't it. Like, yeah, we haven't even been like, well, we've been above 50 a couple of times, I guess, but we haven't been overbought on this chart for a long time on the weekly. That's wild. It's a really good suggestion. I kind of haven't looked at this chart in a long time. We have a lot of bullish divs on high time frame. Seems like high time frame bottom is in for alts. I mean, it depends what you believe, right? I'd love to believe that this is a bottom just because this chart is, you know, it does look like it's bottoming out, right? It looks like bearish momentum is declining. It looks like structurally we've got like a higher low forming. It looks like this was like the capitulation wick. And you could definitely turn this into some bullshit CT propaganda, right? Of like bottoms in, reclaim the range, let's fucking go, full send it, you know. Get 100 billion likes and retire the grandkids off, you know, cold deals and stuff, yeah? But the reality of this chart is, I actually just think it tells the other story, which is the crypto market has been flooded by so much dog shit over the years that you're only really going to succeed by playing the small pockets of outperformance. And this cycle's much fucking harder than any other one, right? 2017, you buy anything. You just buy any old shit. It'll be 10x in about 5 weeks if you hold it and you're not a cunt about it, yeah? Simple as that. Simple as that. Like, we bought things because there were rumors of a logo rebrand and we 2x'd our money in a week. Like, what? Rumors of a logo rebrand. Fuck me. You know, now you get the president of the United States tweeting about it and it's like, fucking, meh. It's 10%, I suppose. Yeah, it's very different. So I interpret this chart as the market's been absolutely turbo washed with garbage. There's probably never going to be an alt season like this ever again. Asset selection is still key. But if this starts going fucking turbo mode and starts running, like, we're all going to feel it. And it is just going to be an absolute piece of piss to trade. But I just can't see it happening. There's too much overhang with, like, supply of all these things, all these shitcoins. They've probably got, like, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. And we'll talk about trillions, actually, in a bit, because that's a favorite one. So I'm not being bearish. I still think crypto is the best opportunity for people to make it, you know, quote-unquote make it in the 21st century. I still think there's so much left in the market in terms of, like, if you get good at it, and if you back to back a couple of 20% moves, like, in these conditions, you know, you can run your balance up so quickly. And I'm not saying use leverage. We've learned that the hard way, right? But you can make such a better return in these markets than you can, like, TradFi in general. You just gotta know what to fucking pick. Anyway, ran it over. But yeah, it would be nice if this was the low. It certainly looks like turbo dog shit, but just because it looks like turbo dog shit doesn't mean the low's in. Here's my, like, I always think, show me strength, show me a change in structure, and then I'll get excited, yeah? And if this was an altcoin chart, I wouldn't be buying it, purely because it looks like turbo shit, yeah? When things start changing, or when it starts showing me, like, relative strength, yeah, I can get excited. Even, like, just a little bit of a movement in the right way. I can start thinking about jumping in, but yeah. Bought the lows after waiting for ages. SE cannot wait. I mean, ETH sweep the wick. Sandwich attacked. Who's sandwich attacked? Who's throwing sandwiches? My confidence in this setup is useless. Yeah, I mean, it's long in the highs. It's probably not going to fucking do anything. It's literally like strong sell-off into strong sell-off, lower high now. Brilliant. This is what I use when I'm like intraday trading. And I'm trying to see where strength is, as well as obviously this. Yeah, like rotational strength is just pretty much like BERT, which is, you know, relatively illiquid compared to other coins. So it's not a perp trader's coin, is BERT. And that's one of the upsides, right? One of the reasons BERT held so strong is because there weren't perps to get everyone fucking liquidated on. Yeah. So I think the pure spot matter is going to come in. And that everyone who is, or every coin that is just pure spot is going to suddenly be a lot more attractive. Tao's super strong. Yeah. Tao's really strong. I've seen quite a few people talk about that. For upside, hello. How do you even chart coins regarding recent wicks? Well, there's kind of two schools of thought. with regards to wicks, right? Some people think that wicks don't matter, yeah, because, you know, it's where candle closes, that's what counts, yada yada yada. Personally, I think wicks matter to a point. I think like these wicks definitely matter because that's like normal controlled price action. This wick, on the other hand, and going, well, I'm going to put my stop under here and do all this, like, it works for Bitcoin. It's the only coin I think that it bears any relevance to, because it actually coincides with, you know, the bottom of this range. It coincides with my general thought process, and it gives me a pretty wide invalidation to add a little bit more spot and so on. But with stuff like, I don't know, Pengu, it just looks fucking stupid, right? Like, you can't enter a trade. Like, no one can seriously be doing anything like this, yeah? Like, that's not a fucking serious trade. Do you know what I mean? Just can't be. So, I mean, I have to ignore them, right? I have to just take local price action as the precedence for everything, because that's all that I've really got that matters. Like, this is a complete one-off turbo event. It might happen again, don't get me wrong, but is this like normal buying and selling? Not really. It's a fucking massive liquidation. It's caused by whatever the fuck it was caused by. Just ignore the cunt. Yeah, like, what am I interested in on Pengu as an example? Well, it looked pretty shit as we were coming down anyway in terms of market structure and, you know, continuous lower highs, etc. But there was a bit of low time frame relative strength up here, and this, you know, I think I started playing the range up here. Was it here? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like Sunday. Maybe it was here. Maybe I was playing the breakout here or something. But either way, like, you got a lot of really nice range reclaim setups potentially coming our way. And I think this is where, like, if you want to trade low time frame, absolutely do. Like, this is currently forming a higher low, which is quite nice, yeah. But if we can start like reclaiming proper levels, like this massive high time frame low up here, you know, support, etc. That's going to be, you know, an incredible swing if risk comes back to the market, yeah. Bitcoin starts running again, we run up to 200k BTC, yada yada yada. Like, that's going to be really fucking nice. But I'm not really interested in like Pengu until we get there, or until I see some form of relative strength on here, yeah. But it's a really good one to have on your radar, for sure. I haven't really traded Tau. Tau's been one of those coins which, I don't know. I joked in the Paragon that, like, oh, I must have been missed out of that, like, that deal or something. But it's fucking wild. Like, I've literally never traded it. I don't know what it does. I know it's something like AI-esque. You know, again, like a lot of alts had a nice kind of setup when it's reclaiming levels and stuff. But equally, like, I didn't have this on Spaghetti, so I didn't catch this as a rotation. But it's certainly one of the better coins in terms of reaction to the low, yeah? Like BNB had a really good reaction to the lows. I did buy a little bit of it and then sell some, but where are we? I tried not to, like, overtrade after the move because everyone just instantly wants to, like, ping it back and run it back turbo, right? But, like, again, like, you compare this to like Pengu, we had a little range, we had an attempt to break out, a full-on breakout, and we even like tagged new all-time highs on BNB. Yeah, we swept this high, and you know, anyone in the Paragon will know that when I'm low time frame trading, like, I'm always looking at former highs, and like as soon as we do something like that, it's like that's out seeds. Yeah, that's game over. That's kind of rotation donezo. But yeah, BNB has done the classic all-time high break and then pull back and fuck around. It's one of the strongest coins out there because of obviously BNB season and all that, but again, like, look at this parabola, yeah? Like, that almost makes me want to short the shit out of it. This on a lower high. Ooh. Ooh. Especially with a sweep of this high. I wish I'd seen that the other day, actually, or earlier today. Brutal. Yesterday. Yeah. That is pretty savage. Because you've taken all of this, you've come back down, you've printed essentially a lower high on, you know, 12 hour. Yeah, under this former. former high, brutal. But it really depends what you want to be doing in terms of, like, do you want to be aggressively short in one of the stronger coins? Do you want to be positioning, long and everything and going balls deep? I mean, for me, I'm kind of agnostic. I'll take the odd short. I would have taken something like this if I'd have seen it, to be honest with you, because it's quite nice in terms of parabola into lower high. I like that a lot. And I'm not afraid to have a bit of short exposure at the moment because the market's so uncertain, right? The market's so like you've seen the crushing blows on Bitcoin the last few days, like even this, right? Even this, like structurally. We've got a higher low here, but I'm just going to all in spot, see what the fuck happens. Assume this higher low holds. But we took a couple of shorts up here, obviously. And we'll kind of see what happens with this rotation. Yeah, on stuff like Pengu. Pengu could be an incredible trade. Asta, good question. Good question. So, a lot of the in-play alts from a week or two ago, look how quickly they become not in play. Yeah, and I spent all of this, I'm pretty sure, and all of this trading Asta, yeah, and long in it, like wake up, I long Asta, wake up, I long Asta, like it was a fucking meme I put on Twitter, yeah. It's not the same now. It doesn't have the low time frame relative strength, right? It's just not as good. It's definitely one of the better coins, right? Because it's up here. You can see it there. It's had a really nice rotation today, for example, so it should be pretty high on your radar, but it's not as incredible as it was. So, as long as it's holding like here, I'm kind of agnostically bullish in the sense of I don't really give a fuck, but it's hard to argue that it's bearish printing a higher low here, yeah? Especially if I'm bullish on BTC. But equally, I'm kind of a bit like meh before it reclaims something like this. And the reason I draw this massive box is because the price action is a bit janky. But, this is resistance. If this is support, then this is a bit of a weak run because you'd expect it to kind of accelerate as the trend accelerates upwards. And it's just a bit meh. There's not really much relative strength on it. It's okay, but it's not the best. So, yeah, I'm not super hopeful that the whole DEX thing is going to be forgiven in terms of the big, let's run a massive DEX meta and then liquidate everybody. I think that's pretty fucked, if I'm honest. Binance now coming out and offering reparation fees and all this kind of stuff, and the community program, all this bollocks. It's like, oh yeah, sorry guys, we caused $9 billion of liquidations. We'll give you 45 mil or whatever the fucking number is. It's ludicrous. But anyway, all alts headed to zero. I'm so bearish on alts and so bullish Bitcoin strange times. I kind of feel the same, to be honest with you. I think alts have always been a really good mechanism for making more Bitcoin, right? And that message has got completely lost in CT over the years, completely lost. I play altcoin rotations to, print USDT, yeah, and buy more Bitcoin with it. That's pretty much it. Alt rotations are incredible when you catch a good one, terrible when you obviously catch a bad one. And they are just a nice way to play high beta Bitcoin, basically, like leverage BTC, but a bit faster, a bit funner. What are we doing? How's Magus doing? I think he's alright, mate. He's just taking a little bit of a break, bit of a time out. He's got some family stuff going on, so. Yeah, Wiz is a big Tower fan. Quite a few people are big Tower fans. There's a lot of people who tweet about it. Yeah, I've got no fucking clue what it does. I assume they've all got big bags of it. Got, like I said, no idea. So I've missed a few comments. So yeah, I'm kind of the opinion that alts are just going to be painful, right? This is a trader's market and everything goes up and down very, very quick, right? So in and out of all the trades, as soon as you're wrong, you just cut that shit. Yeah. So one of the reasons I cut useless earlier was because the whole market looked a bit weak. Relative strength just died, and you know, oh yeah, look, absolutely cucked. So like here, you know, we're looking at like this. So our meme diagonal is gone. We're basically wrong on the trade somewhere about here. Yeah, if we're playing aggressive rotationally. And that's why I got out down here, because I was looking at this and I was going, I think I was on the 1 minute to be honest with you. But I was looking at something like this and I was just like, yeah, it's just getting run up. And then as soon as we sort of sold off, I knew it was done. It was done. And that was the end of that rotation. Now similarly here, or wherever it was, I think it crashed back to my entry here. I think I logged in here. It died in here and I was like, ah, fuck this. I'm not going to like take a dick on this. And then it just popped and ran. I was playing World of Warcraft, to be honest, and CS while it broke out here. But whatevs. Yeah, that's why you're aggressive with your entries, but you're also aggressive with your TP, and like that's how I'm playing these conditions. I did buy some Pengu and some Fartcoin on that Friday night, like in here. I basically sold it in here for like 40-50% or something. But I mean, it is tough. And I bought some Bitcoin as well at 111k, which was briefly underwater. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of very similar to you, Justin, in the sense of like, I am really skeptical on alts at the moment. Really fucking skeptical. So unless it looks incredibly sexy, like Useless does, then I'm probably just not that interested, right? It has to be a really clear outperformer. And like, you compare Useless, yeah, and you compare how the dip has been bought up on Useless and it's run to Asta. Like, why am I even looking at this chart, right? It's fucking boring. Like, meh. Dull. But I am open to talk about some more alts because I know you guys are, you know, probably looking at Vanry could be nice if it reclaims. I mean, Vanry seems like it's dead, to be honest with you, mate. You know, I had a big bag of it for the big run up before. What was it? Like up here. Like that. Yeah, that was good. It was a nice run. I think I did the same here. But like now it's just, you know, it needs to put in some serious fucking work for it to go. Like similarly to the others chart, yeah? Like prove to me that you should be on my radar. Like it has to reclaim this, right? Really simple. Like show me some strengths. Show me that you can reclaim like a previous value area, yeah? Like this is where value was and it was there for a long time. This is a massive deviation from it. If it reclaims. If it's not, then that's just, you know, slow grind towards zero. What do I think about Zek? I mean, Zek, fucking hell, some of the Zek trades, man. Yeah, Zek has been absolute face melt. I cannot believe it survived. Like, for what it's worth, I fucking closed it here, right? But I closed it there on Thursday. Where was it? Here. Yeah, basically. I just said, ah, fuck this, I'm going cash. Something feels off. But how it survived that, beyond me. One of the strongest coins. And then this just absolute, like, what is this? You know, let's get rid of all this, because we've had our clout from that. It's, the only thing that matters is you're only as good as your last trade. So I'm dog shit, right? I'm joking. This is a downtrending channel at the moment. There's nothing to really get excited about, but it is very much on my watch list, right? It's up here because the reason that it's up here is it was one of the fastest to recover. You know, we had a little bit of a div across here. I think there was a nice div. Maybe it was that I was looking at. 30-minute div across these highs as we kind of, you know, then sold off, and we've basically not been able to reclaim that relative strength over the last couple of days. It's not that I think it's gone and it's dead and it's whatever. It's that when you don't see it on Spaghetti, you kind of get a bit like meh. I mean, right now it's down the bottom, yeah. I love it when the reason I longed Useless this morning was because it was down here, right? That's the reason I longed Useless. purely because it looked like turbo dog shit, and I was like, let's have a look. Yeah, just so you kind of get a bit of a flavor. Like, look at it; it's down here. Yeah, well, that was the thought process. Down 22%. What are we looking at? We're looking at it to show a little bit of strength. It's not even any divs or any shit like that. And then we go, bosh, alright, we start seeing some strength, start reclaiming some EMAs, so I start seeing some low time frame strength. You know, I'm giving you a bit of a sneak peek into like daily Paragon stuff, but whatever. Yeah, we start clapping the rotation, and then, you know, we're up a fair bit. If we lose this main diagonal, it's gone. I don't know why I charted on MEXC, the most like illiquid dogshit exchange in the world that'll rob you of all your money. But yeah, you know, that's where I clapped out, and then that's it. And then I celebrated a little bit preemptively, and I was watching for this, and then like I pretty much went AFK and played computer games. I played this, that was it. I played that, breakout, came back, tagged it, tagged my entry, and I was like, this coin can suck my dick. And turns out it just ran like a motherfucker. But yeah, that's a standard day of like playing rotations, right? But Zek, right? So this is some source. So someone, Dr. Profit, wanted to trade on the stream. Zek is down here right now. Yeah, what the fuck do you think we're gonna do with this chart? We're going to turn this chart into, well, where can I possibly enter here? How can I make a trade out of this? How can I find an invalidation? And for me, I think it's right here. And I think it is literally like this. I think it is, excuse me. I think I've got a fucking cold coming, which will be really irritating because I can't be fucked having a cold. You know, this is really fucking nice. This is a really simple setup. Like, it's a massive high time frame support. The big downside, though, is we've clearly got some strong sellers in the market that are just capping the highs, right? And it is in a local downtrend, so you can't size as though it's going to break it unless you've got something telling you that, you know, Zek is suddenly back in the room, right? And this rotation, like, is telling me that it's not quite there. It's not quite ready just yet, but actually, what I tend to do, and you guys are probably gonna, again, I'm probably gonna, you know, give you a bit of source, but when I'm looking at something, like, majorly, I add this little line to it so that I know where the coin that I've got a setup for is. Now, sometimes I'll make it a bit thicker and do whatever to it, but, oh, that's the actual line, sorry, the price line. Well, sometimes I'll do it to the main line anyway. But yeah, I get this little line here so that I can see where it is. And like, if I'm starting to see that there's a rotation between like Zek, you know, Zek's getting stronger and Eustace is getting weaker, then, you know, I can always, oh shit, no, that's not what I wanted to do. then I can look at that. But yeah, Zek, as a high time frame, simple thought process, you know, have we got anything that I can actually play off here? Because yeah, look at it. It just looks like turbo. It just looks like it's being fucking turbo T-WAP down. Like, you know, show me any form of strength. Show me any form of breaking this downtrend, and I will be aggressively long. And I will just use these lows as like invalidation, because we've got this as like a high time frame pivot, right? If these lows, which are pretty aggressive sell-offs, you know, are gonna hold, then confluent with our high time frame pivotal area here, if we get a breakout and we get this, it could be a nice rotation, yeah? I mean, Bitcoin is dying, which is less than ideal, so we're not getting that strength right this second. Let's bosh Zek on here, because this is the other way of seeing it as well, right? Like, you just see it on here and you just see like it's turbo going down to the right, yeah? It's not particularly like difficult to see that structurally from the price action. If that starts changing and you start getting that relative strength, it becomes a really easy setup and a really easy trade. And like this would be my bet, right? And I'm not going to take it now because there's a big difference between a trade idea and an actual, reason to execute. And so far, this is a good trade idea, but there's zero reason to execute. Zero reason. Yeah, I'm going to catch up on chat for a minute. What's my favourite food or meal? Don't know. KFC. I'm a big fan of steak. Just general meathead. Don't know. Depends what I'm in the mood for. So I think we're in inverse alt season this time. Crypto bubble bust. For I have to say token rank 150. So Pengu is useless and useless is far. Crypto inception. Yeah, pretty much. And that's a kind of good point, is that we do rotate the meta. Yeah. So like if you look at like Fartcoin, Fartcoin was one of the ones that I bought down here somewhere because of the run that it had from this low. Yeah, and the fact that it was down like 90% or something stupid. But I mean, the recovery is just non-existent, right? It's just not there. Like this meme had its time in the sun. As soon as it lost like this high time frame pivotal level, it was pretty dull. And wow, that's like the worst doodle ever, but you get the point. Yeah, we're just in a downtrend, just a big strong downtrend on it. And yeah, the sell-off kind of accelerated it and all that kind of stuff, but it's out of flavor. If you want a coin to long, like, are you picking Fartcoin or useless, right? And I will always do the same thing. I will just assess my bias. Like, don't know, boys. What could the answer possibly be? Yeah, no. Avatar, what bag? Already outperforming, nice. CS2 got any better? I mean, I'm still terrible at CS2, but I played with Down Crypto Trades. Yeah, Down Crypto on CT. A Dutch guy, he's got like a few 100,000 followers. Really nice guy. I've known him for years. But yeah, we played a game earlier and we won, which was nice. That was about the time I should have long useless, to be honest, but I was too busy playing computer games. Desync. I think Desync's like in the bin, mate. I'm not gonna lie. I think, maybe not. Maybe if it can reclaim, we get a bit of an AI season. Again, it's same as like Vanry, right? Reclaim it, and it might be interesting. Don't reclaim it, and what's the fucking point? Same as Pengu. There's so many where it's just like, I can catch rotations later on than this. Yeah, and this is like the hard part of the game. It's being patient, working out where to deploy capital, not overfiring, taking better trades because the market is suddenly like this time last week, we were on easy mode, right? I had like a redonkulous win rate, it was like 65, 70% or something. Like I was just smashing it out of the park. Now, what is my win rate over the last few days? I imagine it's not as good. Last 7 days, yeah, 53%. There you go. But just because I didn't win so much doesn't mean that I didn't actually win compared to the rest of the market. I like pegged coin. Stonks my alts, thoughts on Hood. Let's have a look. I'll have a look at some. I imagine Hood is. Yeah, I mean. This is the kind of thing, like, what do you want me to say about this? It's just up only, right? Well, this is like a 2-day chart, but yeah, like, there's no obvious parabola. It's just a strong uptrend. Like, I would be trading this, like, using something like this, right? Until it loses the trend convincingly. Like, there's no entry for me because it's just vertical accumulation. Like, this was the consolidation. This was the consolidation and the breakout. Like, this is where I would trade here. or here. But aside from that, it's just nothing. Sold around 60. I mean, this is where, like, and this is one of the things I'm working on at the moment. You can probably see some of this, like, some of these, like, things that I'm playing around with, which is, I do the same sometimes, and I will sell my coins too early, or I will come out of a trade too soon. And when I do that, like, I'll often go back and go, like, why did I do that? And sometimes there's a really good reason. It's like Bitcoin started selling off, and 50% of the time, maybe more, actually, maybe like 80% of the time, there's a really good reason. But 20% of the time, I'm just like, yeah, the number was too big. I'm like, all right, I thought that's a good day's work. I'll have that there. And then it just goes on to do this, and you go, fuck, that was literally like, a lot different. And if I just held until when it was like, yep, this could be a real bad sell-off. That difference is incredible, and just tweaking your system to be able to capture a bit more. Yeah, that's kind of where you get a lot better, yeah? So whenever you, like, why you sold here, go back and examine it. Like, and for me, it's like, did I make the right decision with the information that was presented to me at the time? Or did I just go, yeah, I'll fucking have that because I was scalping it, not recognizing that, like, high time frame trends were, pretty much in my favor. There was no real break of trend, Was it just a scalp play, essentially, like an intraday, or... Yeah. I've got to get much better. Like, I'm in a scalping mindset at the moment, like, well, more intraday, so more, not scalp as in, like, in-out within seconds, but, an hour, 2 hours, like, that's kind of my average trade duration, yeah? I'm not trying to swing it because I'm not 100% confident on, like, the next leg of the market. I don't think anyone is, but I'm often willing to bet and say, okay, I think we need to be turbo bullish here and we just need to be pressing the green button. But right now I'm more like 50-50 between longs and shorts on an intraday basis, yeah? And it's shorter time frame. But yeah, I would encourage you to think about systemizing like you're taking profit. It's what I'm doing and what I'm working on. And then when I've done it all, I'll just give them as indicators to the group and say, here you go, boys, crack on. I've got one that works. Ooh, wow, my voice went really high then. Cool. I've got one that works. That was really cool. But it's not that one, is it? It's this one. Yeah, this one's sexy. That is going to be good for low time frame rotational traders like myself. But anyway, we'll say less than that. Zen? What is Zen? If this is the dog shit chart, you're getting banned. No, I'm joking. Holy fuck. What the fuck is that? I mean, wow. What the fuck? I mean, this is kind of similar to Zek in the sense of you're actually coming into quite a nice high time frame support. I haven't traded this or done anything with it, so I've got zero feel for this coin. But you've got the same structure, yeah? You've got lower highs, bosh, 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 lower lows. So shit structure, yeah? You're trending down. But you've got resistance, 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 support, deviation, deviation, question mark. Now, if you can start breaking this and start showing some relative strength, then we're cooking on gas. Here, so this tells me, right, hopefully momentum is starting to slow down on Zek to the downside. So let's run to Zek Doodle. So what this thought process is going to be applicable to this as well, right? But let's just go with Zek because we've done that at the start of the stream. Like, let's have a look at Zek now. And now we're starting to see, right? So if I want to be a bit aggressive, oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll start entering here. Alright, bosh a clip or two in here. And just do this. This is our break of downtrend. Now, we should be looking at, I don't think it's going to do it on the 1 second, but we should be doing it at local lows. We should be seeing if Zek is any form of relative strength, which is our little red line here. And it is okay. It's not too bad. It's like in the better quadrant of things. So let's bosh. Right, bosh. Right, so we can fire in a little bit, yeah? And we can see if it turns into like a rotational trade. You know, what we want to ideally see is, we want to see a breakout of this little mini range that's formed. We want to see a little bit of strength, and we want to see a bit of continuation, yeah? We want to see, what we want to see it just start taking off essentially. Because we've got a setup, and what we're trying to get from it is A, that relative strength, and B, that breaker downtrend. Yeah, now we might be a little bit early to it, we might not be, I don't fucking know. This is, you know, preempting it, and it's just kind of giving you guys a bit of entertainment, to be honest. You know, I'd only ever clip in like one clip here. Like, I wouldn't be like bang, 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 full position size. You want the confirmation of a trend starting to jump on board. And the analogy I always use is, I'd rather turn up late to the wrong part, to the right party, than arrive early to the wrong one. And, you know, when you are quote unquote arriving early, like now, we know we're clipping in a little bit early in anticipation and trying to help it along a little bit, to be honest. You know, our invalidation has to be quite fast, yeah? Has to be pretty fucking quick. But yeah, maybe we don't get it. Maybe we don't get it, and someone is just gonna literally counter trade me, which is obviously fine. I'm used to it. Boo-hoo. But yeah, that same principle, the same setup, like the same thought process of show me some relative strength, etc., and break that downtrend on your Zen coin, pretty much the same thing. That's how I'd be attacking that. You still use Orion Terminal like I used to? Kind of. I have it on every now and again. Wasn't Sol supposed to be 500 now? Yeah, maybe. Whip Wheeler's cashing out, yeah. Feb the first top, GE mode. What do you mean, Feb the first top, mate? Oh, let's get some music back on, shall we? Another night, another dream, but always you. Anything on Bonk? Yeah, we can talk about Bonk. Yeah, so like, yeah, this is where you add a bit more up here because you got the trend going in your favor. We've broken out. We've had 2 attempts to the downside, etc., etc. But yeah, we can talk about Bonk and like other memes. I think a lot of the memes are just generally like, you know, weak. That a lot of them have the same structure, which is a series of lower highs into big capitulation. Yeah, so it's not too surprising that they kind of capitulate like this. I'm not saying that everyone should have seen it and everyone should have been on leverage and all that kind of stuff, right? I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that, it's that bouncing ball of momentum, right? That's exactly what's happened. With Bonk, I mean, I've seen people tweet about Bonk, but it's the same shit, mate. Same shit. Bonk had an incredible cycle, yada yada yada. Big sell-off, better reaction than Pepe, etc. But just reclaim it, change the structure, change the lower highs. Didn't realize you could do the line thing to track coins on Spaghetti. Appreciate the share. Yeah, it's a little tip. It's kind of handy, right? So if you don't want the overstacking labels as well, you can change. Where is it? No overlapping labels. So you can do that. So you can say, like, look, right? The problem that I've got is obviously I've got a metric fuck ton of shit on it. And I probably need to take some off because there's some things I'm never going to fucking trade, right? What's this piece of Carbonza? Tier. Probably don't need that. I probably need to go through this, to be honest. And, you know, I've got stuff that isn't even fucking there anymore, yeah? Anyway, I'll do that on my own time. You guys don't need to watch that. But the point was that Zek was actually quite near the top, yeah? So look, Zek's there. We got Zek. Oh, we got Farcoin bizarrely. I thought it was useless. That's strange. But useless is down here. Lamau. Useless is doing like fuck all. Yeah, that's why I tend to keep the the labels like that so I can just see the ones that are important. But yeah, there you go. There's a bit of Zeki. Up 1%. Fucking, let's go. Up 1% on a coin that's up like 6x, but yeah. Join my paid group. Wait. And you too can learn to decimate 1% moves. 1.25. Fuck yeah. You get the point. You get the point. And now we want to see it actually like continue. Do this like little doodle of a retest and then just fuck off and go. Otherwise it's kind of like a shit rotation. And you're probably just too early to it, to be honest. Because we are trying to counter a very strong downtrend. So, yeah. But hopefully you guys get the point of we just constructed a trade thesis. We watched something go from low, or we watched something go from relative weakness to relative strength. Obviously Bitcoin is being a little bitch on this rotation, but you know, for context, and one thing that I always say is quite important for these kind of trades is context. You know, for context, Bitcoin's up quite a bit today. And, you know, when you're like not at the end of a rotation on Bitcoin, but you're certainly at like the upper end of a rotation on Bitcoin, yeah, it's done pretty well. You know, it's kind of looking strong still from a structure perspective, yeah, but that could quite easily change. We're at a point of a lower high. If we lose this meme diagonal, then it's probably like a bit of a pullback for BTC, in which case your alt rotations are all fucked. So yeah, it's a little bit later in the rotation is my point. Very easy to play, or much easier to play rotations when Bitcoin is doing like this and full sending, because it kind of carries all, you know, rising tide carries all ships, doesn't it? But hopefully that was a good like lesson as to what I look at a lot of the time when I'm intraday trading ZEC, or intraday trading anything really. So yeah, now we've also got an invalidation on like BTC pretty much. If we lose this, then I'll clap out for the rotation and call it a day. Does Spaghetti have some ticker limitations? Add that over 99 gives you an error. Yeah, I think it depends on what trading view plan you're on. So I think if you're on like the top trading view plan, you get like 200 tickers. If you're on the bottom one or something, you get like 100 or 50 or something. If you're on the free version, then I think you get about 10. Couldn't get that Spaghetti token on my trading view. Thought I'd try after stream. Yeah, mate, just go for it. Are there any bull divs on trad memes on the weekly? On trad memes? What, like, do you mean stuff like Fartcoin and stuff like that? I mean, I'm just not that. Although this rotation for Fartcoin is pretty good. And Zek's still doing okay on this rotation. Yeah, that bonk down here. Eustace being a bit of a bitch. Yeah, I'm not super interested in trad memes at the moment, like the old school stuff. I don't think there's much, to be honest, to go after. I've no doubt that some people will be doing this and be like, well, you know, bonks the future of finance, and it'll probably pay off, yeah. Especially if what I'm hoping for on BTC plays out. But for me, it's just too early. It's too early to jump in on something like this, yeah. Yeah. Pretty slow. I missed last week when it would just go like that. It was fucking instant 10% candle. Just give me like one of these again, do you know what I mean? Oh, we'll see. We'll see, I might do it. That explains. Oh, thanks, got Premium Plus. Nice. Will Zek lead to Monero or Thor pump? I don't know, that's a good question. I mean, I try not to play like the betas these days, right? So I'm not too interested in trying to play like, oh, if Zek pumps, then other privacy coin will pump, yeah? And the reason that I don't try and do that as much is because Like in this market, it's much more the leader. The leader will lead, and the rest will just get annihilated. Right? The beater's the cuck. It's just not. There's not enough liquidity to support two coins of the same narrative running as well. I don't think, and I think Zek will just continue to take the limelight of the privacy meta from a tier 1 perp dex perspective, and then I think there are other hedges like anyone which I've talked about to be like on-chain privacy. The original trade thesis for this was like down here. It was basically this breakout, and then obviously I had a stop somewhere down here, but I've just got spots, so there's no cough cough, no stops. My stop is 0. That was the original trade. It was like there, I think it was. But yeah, that's like one of my on-chain privacy plays. Yeah, I don't see why it can't run, especially if Zek does do another fucking round. Holy shit, Useless pop-in, Zek going. Nice. Even Farcoin does look pretty strong. I've got to hand it to it. I still think like Useless is a better coin to long than Farcoin, as we saw by the chart earlier. But you see, Koei did like a 3x after the crash. Yeah, mate, that is a scam coin. That is a great coin, right? Imagine one of my friends actually Fitz. He suggested long in Koei like a couple of weeks ago. He did like some analysis of like well, I won't say what, but he put a few factors through AI and came up with a list of about 4 coins that were like next MYX candidates, and this was one of them. And not a single one of us bought it. And it went 36x in like a week on Binance, which means you could have smashed like 100k just as a gamble on this. And if it went to 0, like it's a bit of a shit loss, but even if you 10x'd it, fucking it's pretty mental. Pretty mental. This is when was the dip? It was here, wasn't it? Yeah, literally ran back down to where it was earlier in the day, and then a little dip, and then just 3x. Mental. Yeah, so if anyone knows the next Binance cartel scam ticker, my DMs are open, so feel free. And if you can convince me and I do stick some money in there, you can have 10% of the profits. Yeah, you just watched it? Yeah, to be fair, mate, we played I did play MYX a few times, to be fair. I did actually long the top of MYX. But I longed here and caught this rotation. I longed here, I think it was, for a breakout, and I had a stop under there because I thought it was gonna run. It didn't. Well, I think I longed in here as well for this rotation up here, but this was mental, right? Absolutely mental. Like, 1,400% in a couple of days. And then, absolute carnage on the way down, 40%, straight back up, 67%, straight back down, like, wild. Some absolute crime going down on Binance. I was going to say, what was the other one? There was another one. I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was like Cokes or something. Wasn't that? No. Trying to think, there was another one anyway that my mate said, like, let's have a pop at this. I managed to actually trade it alright, and they all got fucked by it. Might have been this. No, it couldn't have been that. Doesn't matter. It literally was another scam Binance chart that literally did this and then went like that. and then went like that, and then consolidated, and then went like that again, and then went like that. It looked like the Batman. It's mental. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but this will happen within like 18 hours. But yeah, crime cycle, boys, crime cycle. Still in hype, spot or perps? Nah, I'm literally, in terms of spot, like I've got a few on-chain bags, like I said, like anyone and stuff. I've got obviously a lot of Bitcoin, but like for me, hype's lost a lot of momentum, like going across here. Like I think a lot of like these trades, unless they can start showing some real strength, are just a bit meh, right? I think that whole DEX meta's probably a little bit washed, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not a bad place to buy spot if you want some for like long term, right? You know, we let's have a look. Like a lot of my friends are far more bullish on hype than I am, right? And it's probably because I didn't pull my finger up my ass and do, you know, my ridiculous volumes of trading on hype and just retire from one trade, which I probably could have done, to be honest. The amount of volume I actually put through, but you know, it looks alright in terms of holding up this low. So if you were buying, and you were buying something like this, you know, and trying to run it up for the next leg, and you're convinced that the DEX meta isn't done, then fair play, you know, rock and roll with it. But yeah, I need to get back to on-chain trading, to be fair. Ooh. I like all this sort of streamer narrative. I'm surprised all that died off so fast. Like, genuinely am. Nobody's been a bit of a joke in terms of, like, again, like El Cabal. But if it's cabaled, great. You know, buy it low, sell it high. Simple as that. Dog stock, nice. Yeah, I really want to come back to the trenches. I want to see some volume, and if we get some like volume on pump as well, then that puts pump the token back into play, right? So you start thinking of like this, you start thinking of the flywheel effect, etc. So you know, I've seen pump have a couple of decent like relative strength moves, so I could be tempted to grab a bag of pump from the lows if we start seeing a bit of on-chain debauchery. And I do think useless hitting a billion will bring activity back to the Solana trenches. But that could just be opium, right? This will tell us if that's actually happening. So get your ass on telemetry is what I'm trying to say. I mean, who doesn't want to be longing Angry Baby? But yeah, if we start seeing some increase in revenues from Pump Fun and bigger buybacks, etc., it could bring it into the limelight a bit faster. Alright, we've got anyone running, got XPL running. Useless, meh, not great rotation for me then. I did want to talk about XPL very briefly because it's one of those coins that looks so shit, it looks good. And similarly to like Pump, you know, I kind of want to see some relative strength, which we're actually getting a little bit of here. Yeah. And if we can start like playing a breakout on it, then I could be tempted. Could even be tempted to fire a clip in now if I wasn't streaming, right? Because that relative strength is pretty damn good. This. But yeah, this was brutal. Absolutely brutal. you know, and if we get like a reclaim, it gives you your invalidation, I think, quite quickly and quite simply. For like a proper, you know, proper swing trade. Not necessarily all the way back to the highs, but you get what I'm trying to say, yeah. Like I said, I'd probably, because it's such good relative strength, I'd probably be aping a bit here. In a similar way that we aped some Zek. But I don't want to try and manage like 15 positions on the stream. Ah, pussy. Yeah, I mean, I've not managed this at all, as you probably guessed, because I've been streaming and not looking at this, but that's why we be, well, to be fair, my stop's always like under these lows, yeah. ETH's actually running, Bitcoin's running. Launch coin, nice. I got a bit of vol. Right. Any questions? Yeah, been over Bitcoin, mate. I'm bullish. I bought a ton of spot today. I've averaged up. If it goes to 0, I'm going to be living in your house. Your mum said it's fine. Zig chain, yeah, I'm still bullish Zig. I've still got a bag of Zig somewhere. One of my wallets. It's just one of those coins that, like, it's been in a range forever and a day. And like even mainnet launching, like it's just well, I mean I get that, you know, the entire market died and stuff, but it's like I'd really fucking like it if it could just break out of this like eternal range. I mean, buying it at 9 cents and selling it at 13 has been possibly the freest trade of the last like 2 years, right? There'll be a time where it doesn't work, so please don't just think you can rinse and repeat that to financial freedom. But yeah, it's like, it's just absolute craziness. Absolute craziness. But yeah, has anyone else got anything else, or should we call it a day there? It's been a bit of a long stream actually. It's like 8:30. We've been going for an hour and a half, which is pretty good. Pretty good. I think we covered a lot of cool stuff. Do me a favor and get your ass on telemetry and give it a go. Play around with it. It is genuinely good for on-chain trading, and I do think that we get that meta back. I think it's particularly as useless. Breaks new highs. And when Useless becomes $1 billion meme coin, which I've no doubt it's going to, it's going to be caballed all the way to $1 billion. What's happened on Useless? The old break even, eh? How boring. How boring. Well, we could have sold at 1% on Zek. And we are break even on Useless. Wonderful. What a dull stream in terms of like live action. But either way, I think Useless will run pretty hard. Whether it runs right this second and tonight, don't know. A little bit of all-time high fuckery is pretty standard. Yeah, I hope you guys learned something. You know, I'm genuinely here to try and hopefully be what I wish I'd found. So if you've got questions, even just around like what support, what's resistance, how do you draw stuff, like just fucking fire them away, yeah. Obviously I've got hundreds of videos on the Paragon group about all that kind of stuff, as has Magus and Doc, but yeah, that's not what this is for. Yeah, I will see you at the same time next week. Good luck, survivors. I'll see you